Josefsky coming in here from Santo Domingo. As you can see, a beautiful colonial area behind me here, built by Christopher Columbus and his men many centuries ago. And yeah, let me just show you around a little bit. This little area I'm in here. Very, very sweet. And it's appropriate and important for me to be coming in from this part of town today. I'll do the intro here, then I'll sit down. But it's important for me to come in from here today because the topic of this live is get out into the streets and let the magic happen, okay? No magic is gonna happen for you sat at home watching the internet, watching another video on Niccolo Machiavelli, watching another video on the red pill, watching another video on pickup. Nothing is gonna happen for you, yeah? It's all, you're just spinning your wheels. You're just spinning your wheels. The action is out here. The action is in the streets, in the bars, in the cafes. That's where the action is. So don't delude yourself that even by watching this video, you're making huge progress. You're really not. There's only so much insight I can give you. There's only so much insight any coach can give you. You've actually got to get out there in the street and live it and feel it for yourself. And it's just started to rain. Okay, we're gonna have to take the stand down and have to start running. So I'll carry on live as it becomes completely torrential, which I think it's gonna. Let's keep going, let's keep it rolling. The show must go on. Yeah, it's fucking throwing it down. That's how fast it happens. Right, there we go. At least I'm on the cover now. So yeah, there's only so much. Is the camera all right? Let me just snow apocalypse. Yeah, you've got a snow apocalypse in Canada. Bloody hell. So yeah, I mean, yeah, if any of you boys later this year fancy a trip out of Canada, you fancy actually getting somewhere hot and sultry and sexy, although we have the odd tropical shower, it's freaking amazing here. It is absolutely freaking amazing here. I'll put the stand back up. So yeah, there's only so much insight I can offer you, and there's only so much you can get from the comfort of your own home. And even if it is snowing, I say still get yourself outside. Still get yourself outside. Go take the shovel out. Go and shovel your neighbor's snow. Because it's really out there in the real world that the great stuff happens, that the good stuff happens. And you'd be surprised at what you can encounter out there in the real world. You really would. I've, because of my approaches, so I've been doing daytime approach for the last 3 years, and find my personal life is good as far as I need it to be good. I've got everything I need. I mean, realistically, hold on, let me get this camera back in. Okay, we're still here. Exactly, real world maxing. That's what it's about. That is what it's about. And that's why I wanted to come out here today and just do the live from out here. It's a bit of a social pressure exercise. God, this is a bit of a revealing top, innit? I should just be skins, should just have my shirt off. But that's why I wanted to come in from outside today, because, as I say, there's only so much you can actually get from just theory. I know it's cold winter in North America. I know it's cold Canada. I know it's cold in Europe, but you can still get yourselves out there. Yeah, some of my friends in my mastermind, they go and hit malls. Some people like Baltus, they go out in the snow. Yeah, I've done snow approach as well in Sarajevo, Bosnia, as well, which was good. And I've definitely done some cold approaches in Turkey and also Macedonia as well. You can still do it. You just put a jacket on. and the ancillary benefits you get from Daytime Approach. So I'm 40 years old now. I came into Daytime Approach at 37 just because, I don't know about you, but in your 40s, like most normal guys don't want to be in clubs 4 nights a week, 3 nights a week, picking up women, getting girlfriends. I didn't really want to do that. I'd done that in the past, and I didn't want to do it as I got older. I could see the end was in sight on that score. So I found a coach to teach me Daytime Approach, learned Daytime Approach, and then the real learning actually happened. It's a bit like your driving test. You really learn to drive after you've passed your test, and it's the same with Daytime Approach. You get the coaching, but you really learn it. Well, in my case anyway, I really learned it afterwards. I think it may be even a little bit different now because our knowledge is so advanced now compared to where it was 3 years ago. But in any case, I learned over the last 3 years, and all these crazy adventures I've had, even the closes themselves, some of the closes I've done, like closing a Miss Universe in a Brazilian mall in front of like half a dozen guys all staring at me. She was Miss Universe for Salvador de Bahia, for the state of Bahia actually, which is a state I think of 7 or 8 million people. Closing an Olympic athlete, closing actually a famous actress I'm still messaging just literally around the corner here a few days ago. Like the sex adventures as well. It's not, actually wasn't my main focus, but I've certainly taken care of that side of things. Getting a girlfriend, when I met my girlfriend, having 3 or 4 amazing options that were painful. It was really painful to cut one of those options off, like really painful. I didn't want to do it, but I decided to because I thought it was for the greater good. And I'm in my late 30s coming to this. I'm 5'7", I'm bald. So all the stuff you're not supposed to be. Apparently it's bad to be bald, even though loads of women say it turns them on a lot, and bald guys are their favorite type of guy. I'm 5'7", apparently that's the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I guess the 5'11" girl I met on the bicycle, I guess she didn't read the memo on that one. And yeah, I'm 40 as well. Didn't realize, supposed to be a 27-year-old Giga Chad. And I'm not a millionaire either. I'm just a normal guy who's built a lifestyle for himself, but I'm not some billionaire. So all of that stuff that people are being taught on the internet, and I'm gonna go scorched earth on the internet in a moment, all of that stuff does not apply to me, and yet I've succeeded. And that is just a pattern that I see with everybody, okay? There's too much now. Oh my God, I can feel the rant coming on. Guys, do you realize how fagged up and pussified the new generation of guys has become because of the internet? You're defeated. The internet has defeated you before you've even picked up your axe, before you've even put your armor on to go out there. The internet has defeated you. Like, your ancestors razed cities to the fucking ground. That's not even a joke, by the way. Or even if they didn't do that, even if they were the people who were getting screwed over, they still had to survive brutal, harsh conditions, right? In freezing places or in scorching places, from, I don't know where, the Arctic to fucking African savanna. Guys, and you're gonna let the internet defeat you. You're gonna let some 20-year-old ginger fucking guy on the internet telling people that unless your looks max to the gills, you've got no chance. It's weird, there's a ginger guy in our masterminds. It doesn't even occur to me that would be an issue. And it didn't occur to him either. And guess what? The guy's going out closing like literally 10 girls in an afternoon. And he was a virgin as well, just lost his virginity a few months ago, so shout out to him. Yeah? He wasn't defeated because of what he'd seen on the internet. It's incredible what it's like. Do you realize what a pussy you are? Hopefully there's no guys like that on my channel, because I really want to repulse guys like that away from me. Ideally, I would bully them and shame them and approach in front of them to such a point that they would eventually be forced to either admit they were a complete gimp or they would go and start doing stuff themselves. It is absolutely unfathomable. It's unfathomable what is happening at the moment to men. Like, it's one thing taking tips on how to improve yourself. So obviously I work out, as you can see. What else do I do? I groom my beard. I'm just in a vest now, but I'm into style anyway. So I think style is a good thing to be into. But beyond that, like I'm not spending my life like thinking about X factors X, Y, Z. I'm really not. Another thing as well is that it's all very cherry picked as well, because a lot of women, they don't want a pretty boy. They actually want a guy who is a bit more rugged. Yeah. Honestly, if anything, you can go way too far in that direction. I've had girls when I was younger tell me, if I used to have like long pretty boy hair, copying David Beckham and stuff, and they told me when I was in my late 20s, they were like, and this is a hot girl that I went out with. She was a stripper, very sexual, very powerfully, I don't know, she just had a very powerful body in every sense, and personality as well, but not in a girl boss way, in a way of nature. And she saw some photos of me when I was younger. She was like, yeah, you'd be way too much of a pretty boy for me then. I wouldn't be into it at all. And she was 21 at the time, I was 27. And she was looking at pictures of me when I was 21. She's like, yeah, too much of a pretty boy. I got a bit older. I don't know, my look changed a little bit. I got a little bit more rugged looking. And then she found that attractive. So it's almost like a male projection. Like we want pretty women and we think that they want the same. If anything, I'm still too pretty. I could do with a few scars across here. Yeah. I got my nose broken twice, so that's at least something. But that is actually what turns women on anyway. So the attitude I just find absolutely repulsive, to be honest with you. So guys, yeah, snap out of that one. And the ancillary benefits of cold approach, just the people you meet along the way, man, the people you meet along the way. So I'm obviously like making content on it now. So I've met people through that. Just make sure my bag is safe here. I'm making content on it now, so I meet people through this. But even if I wasn't making content, people I just literally meet out in the street. People I meet in cafes, and sometimes it's girls and sometimes it's just guys. I'm mostly obviously approaching women, but if sometimes there's guys around, I'll strike up a conversation with them, particularly if they look interesting, if I just get a feel that they're interesting. And who knows what is going to come out of some of those conversations, to be honest. Some of the cast of characters that I've met on my travels, some of them, who fucking knows what's going to come of them. There's a guy I was speaking to, over in Cuba. He comes back and forward from here and then also to Cuba as well. And obviously Cuba in the next year, the regime is going to change in Cuba in the next year, because the daddy just cut their lifeline off with Venezuela, so they got no more oil. And their regime, which is already fucked because they're communist fucking scum, their regime is already fucked. I've been to Cuba, I know exactly what it's like. I've been there before. And it's a disgusting regime, what they're doing to those people. But the lifeline is cut already. So that regime is going to fall. And he's giving them an ultimatum, which is basically, you saw what I did to that guy. You're next. So come to the table. You can go and live in Turkey. I can send you to some other country. I can send you to Guyana to retire. Or I can put you in prison. It's up to you. So I think that's what's going to happen in Cuba. In any case, the regime is going to change this year. That's a guarantee. Or within the next 18 months. And a guy I met in just a coffee shop, I was talking to the girls and he was talking to the girls as well. I was like, and at some point we started talking, because it's like, this guy's an operator. I like how he's doing things. And we start talking, and he's just a business guy on the make. He's just looking for opportunities here. He's basically doing what I'm doing, arbitrage, where you take one market and another market, and you find the value gap between those two things, and you use that to your advantage, right? That's what he's doing. So he's setting up call centers out here. He's doing all sorts of things out here, and just using his skill as a connector. And he's got Cuban citizenship. So we were just talking about, I messaged him the other day, I was like, what's going on? Like, the opportunity is surely there, right? And he was basically just giving me the ins and outs of what's going to be happening there, what property opportunities are going to be open, in the next, well, they're open already basically. And yeah, to be honest, there's going to be, if people can get in now to that place, which is not easy to do because of the restrictions at the moment, the amount of money that you'll make will be absolutely ungodly, because once that regime falls, that country is just going to explode. It's got everything ready to go. And so we're talking about this stuff. Worst case scenario, I'll probably take a trip with them at some point, or I've got a great connection for when I go back to Cuba. I've not been since 2006. It was a long time. And that's just one example, right, of a guy who's a potential, I mean, I've talked quite a bit about business with him, a business in this area. That's just one example. There's other guys. There's a guy I met in Belgrade who's, maybe he's watching live, who is a lawyer. I'm gonna get into the shade now. Who's a lawyer in I won't say which country, but in a non-aligned country. And so I talked to him about opportunities as well. Girls like Sonia, the Russian influencer that I met as well, that girl's making a fortune. She told me how much she was making, and it's like, I believe her as well. I saw what she was doing. She actually schooled me a little bit to the Instagram side of social media, which is not my side at all. So all these people, all these connections, yeah, if I wasn't out there approaching, if I was sat in my apartment just watching the internet, you don't have leverage. You don't have any leverage just being sat in your apartment. Your presence itself and your presence of mind and the opportunities you can see, that automatically gives you leverage, right? And even things like getting hold of apartments, getting decent apartments, a lot of that does come from the real world. Obviously at SB, we've talked about, you know, angles in Bosnia as well. Bosnia is actually quite an attractive territory to set up a business. So I've got connections from being out there in the real world. I've got connections now in Bosnia, Serbia, and Macedonia. Good connections. I had a connection in Romania, but he's left. And it's not just like a guy who works in a bar or something. It's people who've got businesses who've set things up in those countries, and they know what they're doing and have given me advice, even offered me to kind of help me in a way that would be a partnership. But legit people as well, not like people you might meet in a club or something, like actually very legit people. Some people in positions in like high academia, other people like, as I say, in the legal profession and so on. That's all stuff you can meet out there in the real world. It's not going to a networking event, it's just being out. You can go to networking events, but I think you've got more leverage in the real world itself. That's my opinion. The networking stuff, does anybody really make, I don't know, when people go to networking events, does anyone really make a connection that really comes through and makes them money, gives them a real opportunity? I don't think so, because I think a lot of those networking events, I don't think the people, even in a lot of cases, they're just like, unfortunately, they are kind of rats in a cage, you know? Yeah, there's so many opportunities out there in the real world. Was there anything else I wanted to discuss on this live? We'll do a little walk and talk in a moment. I'll take the mic off. I'll take the video off the stand. We'll just walk around the town a little bit. Antonio, how are you, mate? Nice to see you. So yeah, you'll notice I'm not talking about daytime approach. I'm not talking about dating. I'm not talking about women. I'm just talking about getting out into the real world. So later today, let me give you another example of this, right? I live in Santo Domingo right now, okay? Dominican Republic. A girl I dated 9 years ago that I met in Cubana's nightclub, Sheffield. I met her and her sister and her brother. She had two sisters actually, and I was like, where's from? I'd never seen mixed race girls like this. They were like tangerine colored, incredibly attractive. I was like, I go for the exotic, right? And they were the most exotic women that I'd never seen more exotic than that. And then they told me where they were from, and I was like, I don't know. All I know is I read a book about that. They had a big dictator back in the day, Trujillo. That's all I know. So I got out with this girl, started dating her. She had a son. So I was like, I'm not interested in being a stepdad, but let's go out. So I went out with this girl. She's one of the best girls I've ever been with. Good in bed, good cook. She's a good mom. And so it went as far as it went. But I always stayed on really good terms with her. I even also told her as well, like, I'm a English guy, yeah? I am not going to raise someone else's son. I didn't say the word bastard son, but basically that's what it is. I'm not going to put my resource into another man's sperm. Not going to do it. But I actually got on really well with Son as well. Yeah, it's nothing against him. Like, he's a really quality guy. He's like 17 now. So he'd have been about 8, 9 when I was knocking around. And I'll still speak to him now. But I'm just not going to move in and, put my resources in that way. I said to her, you should get with an English guy who is divorced and has had a bad marriage. That's what you should do. Right, I think this is probably our cue to move. Because we've got the roadworks starting up. So I said to her, just let me know if the sound is audible. So I said to her, you should marry an English guy who's had a bad marriage to a stupid, moronic English chick. And actually, she resisted that. She didn't want to do it. But she ended up meeting a guy who was exactly of that description. Lo and behold, they got married and she had more children. So now she's got 3 children, that woman. Sorry, just have to look upwards, guys. Actually, I'll just put this on the floor for a second. So now she's got 3 children, that woman, and she's got a good marriage to a good guy. But I stayed in touch with her and her family and the son and so on. And even her dad, when her dad came to visit her in England, I took them out and we did stuff. I get a phone call the other day, a couple of days ago, from an unknown number. And it's old Luis. Yeah, the ex's dad. And he goes, I'm in San Domingo, what are you up to? I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So, because he was born out here, then he moved to Spain. And now his daughter's in England. And so later today, I'm going to be going to meet Luis, yeah? So I've got a contact here in the Dominican Republic from a girl I met in a nightclub, yeah? And what does this come from? This comes from just being out there, being a dynamic person, having fun, treating people well. I did cheat on his girlfriend. I did cheat on his daughter on a constant basis back then, but I did actually treat her well. It was quite funny, to be honest. I think if she'd not had children, she wouldn't, because she had a son. She couldn't go out that much, and she was like, I know what this guy's up to. I don't give a shit. I enjoy his company. So it worked really well for a time. Really, really well. We got on super well. And also she's Dominican as well, so she basically expects men to do that. But when I was with her in company and all this, I treated her really well. And her son, and her dad, and her sister, although her sister was a bit of a bitch. And yeah, all of that, years later on, and I've got a friend out here in the tropics I can go and see. So I'm gonna go and see a different area that I've not been to. Again, the guy, he works in property. So again, it's just more opportunities. Yeah, if I want to buy something, if I want to help other people buy stuff, it's all there. It's all there. If I want to build something, this guy can build me something. And it's a different type of connection. It's this types of connections where people actually, they are loyal to you, It's like, it's not a guy you met for 5 minutes, someone you've actually had a ongoing contact with for years and years. And that's just another example of IRL, the IRL stuff. What else do I have? IRL. Yeah, I mean, friends out here that I meet, again, it's just how much I've got from the street is incredible. That's not raised either. I wasn't raised to be like a guy in the street at all. But how much I actually got out of just being in the street is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I feel like guys don't even know this world exists. Even picked up clients in the streets as well, you know, for Wingbro. They see the old approach firing off and they're like, shit, this guy's actually, guy actually knows what he's doing. Let me get in touch with him. That's also happened as well. So yeah, we'll keep walking, boys. We'll do a little tour. So we've got any comments here today? Okay, so Snow Apocalypse, Real World Maxing, 5 approaches. Oh yeah, the first move. I think we spoke last time, didn't we? Yeah, 5 approaches, that's good. So guys, in your early phases of this, you've got to run volume in your early phase. So that's actually something I wanted to talk about, so thanks for mentioning that. If you're early on, this is something I hear too much from guys, is that I ask them what's going on in their personal life. Usually nothing. That's fine. And have they done an approach, or what are they approaching? And often they'll tell me about a couple of approaches they did like 7 months ago. And they've got stuff in their mind, like interactions stay in their mind from months ago. I honestly, I couldn't even tell you, I'm on an off month. I could not tell you how much, I'm literally, in my mind, I'm not even approaching. In my mind, like how I conceptualize things. I'm on a rest month, and I couldn't tell you how many approaches I've done this month. I couldn't tell you, at least 20, and that's a non-existent month for me, non-existent. Because I'm in a phase now where I don't need to do volume. I really don't. The ability and the location I've got, and the logistics, I just don't need to run volume. Yeah, but when I was starting off, Christopher Columbus here. When I was starting off, damn right I used to run volume. I used to run tons of volume. At least 10 approaches on a Saturday, and then at least probably 3 or 4 in the week. And over the course of a month, that's about 60 approaches. And that was out like while I'm traveling and running a business as well. You know, there's guys in London, they'll do that in a weekend. So, I mean, you've got to be in somewhere like London to do that type of volume. But still, like 60 approaches a month, and then I don't know, probably from that about 7 or 8 dates for a long period of time, for a period of 6 to 12 months. That's basically what gets the job done. That's what gets you desensitized. And then I did another year, that was last year, just to polish it off, and I was still doing at least 10 to 15 approaches per weekend. And that's the game in a lot of different countries. That's what brought me to the realization I've got to coach this now, because I've been in so many places. I kind of know how it all works now. But when you're early on, you've got to run volume. You've got to. So yeah, so I think 5 a week. I think it depends on what your approach is. Because I see guys tell me they do 20, 40, 60 approaches. And some of them actually do. But I also see other guys say that, and I watch them approach and I go, to me, I've watched you do 5 where you went to a woman and said something to her. I've yet to see you do an approach. I've yet to see you do 1. Like just because you go up to a woman and say something, you know, did you properly stop her? Did you get right in front of her? Did you look her in the eye and pay her a hard-hitting compliment? And then did you stay in the set as long as you can, and did you really go for what you wanted? Obviously you got to read the girl as well. You've obviously got to read and stay and enjoy that energy as well. Like, did you do both of those things? And it's more like they stopped the girl, kind of side on, kind of hesitant, said something to her. That's not an approach. It's not an approach. It's nothing. It's quality and volume that you need to begin with. Quality and volume. So if you're thinking about approaches you did 6 months ago, 4 months ago, you're just probably not doing enough. You need to be running big volume, especially for the first 6 months. Then when you've earned the right, then you can start to pick your shots. You can't pick your shots unless you know what you're doing. I do pick my shots now because I just don't have that much time. But let's say this week I've done about 4 or 5 approaches, just like on the way to the supermarket or something. I think I got 2 or 3 contacts from that. And I've also got to manage existing girls as well, and everything else I've got going on. So I can pick my shots now. And that's actually what you should do, is you get past, I think once you've had a few sexual adventures, you've had a few girlfriends from it, or a girlfriend from it, you realize you can do it. And then it's about integrating it into your life and actually picking your shots. And you're most leveraged with your approach when you're not in the street, by the way. You get girlfriends in the street, but you're really leveraged if you use these skills. For example, when you're in a salsa class, when you're in the cafe, when you're in the club. If you use these skills in other domains, that's where you're most leveraged. Yeah, I've got something I do now is I look ahead. I can forward project with a girl, and I'm like, she's got to be really, really fit for me to even go in for the approach. I know that sounds arrogant, but it's like, if she's a 7, there's no point even going for the approach, because even if I were to go on a date with her, I'd never pursue her beyond that anyway. So there's just no point. So first things first, she's got to be very fit. Yeah, I'm up in more rarefied air now, and actually it is a little bit harder, I have to say, getting the dates and stuff. The girls are, I don't even think they're so much more in demand. I think they're actually a bit lazier, because they kind of know. They've got a mirror. There's not one attractive girl in the world that doesn't know she's attractive nowadays, or probably ever. And a lot of them most of them overrate themselves realistically. And so there's a big, I noticed a lot of complacency in the upper echelons. It's like, okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, you're correct to understand your position, that's fine. I also go for early 20s as well, which again is very complacent, but that's normal, because they do have time at that age. If they're even close to 30 and they're still being complacent, I would say they're being fucking delusional, to be honest. The difference I find between the physical body between a woman in her early 20s or 19, 20, 23, and a girl who's even early 30s, the difference physically is fucking astonishing, to be honest. It's actually astonishing. Even 20 to 27, there's a difference, man. And I don't think we talk about that enough in society. You know, I'm quite polite on this channel, really in what I say, but a woman after 40, I'm 40, I do not see women my age who have got my type of pulling power. I just don't. I don't see it. I mean, their faces are saggy, their fucking bodies are completely different. Men's bodies, like, they peak higher than us, I would say, in terms of how they are appreciated, but I think our bodies last a lot longer. You can be in good shape until, I would say, probably early 50s. Like viscerally attractive shape where you've got some muscle, you're lean. You can be like that for a long time. I mean, I suppose it makes sense. Men, we're fertile for our whole lives. Women are only fertile until they're 40. So it doesn't really make sense that they would still be attractive after 40. Yeah, just my honest view, even 30 for me is a hard cutoff, and anything over 40 is just like a novelty to look at. But yeah, I've seen this guy, there's a woman I see around here. By the way, this is another cold approach thing. I'm going on a tangent here, but there's a woman I met just in a cafe who's a women's coach. She coaches women with trauma. Really cool, actually, really cool woman. And we've gone back and forth about relationship stuff. And there is a part of me which, you know, I don't know how much women these days really get it, especially if they're European. After 40, your value is way, way less than when you're in your 20s as a woman. For me personally, it's zero. It's literally zero. There is no value at all. I'm not interested at all. If I was 60 and she was 40, then it would be different. But yeah, at my age now, there's no value. So she was showing me this male dating coach, like Matthew Hussey. He actually used to be in the male space. But if you see him, you'll see what kind of a fake pussy this guy is. And just a complete pussy. one of these basically an emotionally intelligent millennial, aka estrogenic ponce, who like, all he does, I think he got iced out of the male space because ultimately it's too obvious as this guy's a fucking pussy. And he went into the female space and he's making millions. So it's a perfect role for him. But I watch some of his videos and some of the stuff, he gives girls like the red pill in such a sugar-coated way, I don't think they're even gonna get it. But the one thing he doesn't say is, he obviously has women in their mid-40s paying him thousands and thousands of pounds, and they're like, I want to find love. And I just think to myself, you're 20 years too late, love. You're 20 years too late. Women need to be taught at a very young age this. I think they know deeply anyway. It's an instinctive thing. When they get to their late 20s, early 30s, they know the gig is up, and they've got to scramble for what they can get at that point. And they won't put it in those terms, but they know the gig is up. Yeah, it is. It just is. As a man, that's literally when you're getting started. It's fucking insane. And yeah, if it was me, my dating coaching for women would be like a couple of lines, you know, be young and hot and select well. There you go. What are you gonna do I wonder if they realize how limited their options are actually gonna be. Yeah, you can get a guy in his late 50s who doesn't have that many options, you probably can. The guys who come in to do cold approach, who are paying thousands of pounds, who are getting shredded in the gym, who are going out putting in hundreds of approaches. You think they're going for a 45-year-old woman? Are they fuck? Even the guys in their 50s, they go for like early 30s women. That's a good matchup, because the woman is past her prime, and probably the guy is physically past his prime as well. But so they're actually quite a good matchup. They're still attractive, but it's a fair matchup basically. Unless you're like my fucking my 72-year-old Italian mate, dude, he's in his 70s. He literally still max 23-year-olds. At most, he max like 18-year-olds, and he does pretty fucking well as well. And if he doesn't, basically what he does is he doesn't settle at all. He just goes for 23-year-olds, and if he wants a shag now and then he's not got any action, he just bangs a prostitute. That's his modus operandi. He's already had 2 children. So he just waits around, dates of like 1 or 2 23-year-olds per year. That's what he does. Fucking legend. So yeah, you can still get it done at an older age as a guy, but for women, it's just not the same, man. It's not the same. Those women there, they're probably about my age, I would say. To me, they just look old though. Anyway, so for women, age is the biggest factor, man. It's the biggest factor. Not everyone is the same as me. I have quite a very barbarian view of things. But that's just my biology, man. I can lie to myself. I'm not gonna feel fucking guilty about it though. That's what I find attractive, is young, hot babes. I do not find women my age even remotely attractive. Some guys may do, but I just really don't. Yeah, so the red pill stuff, there is definitely some truth in that. You don't want to go too far down that red pill rage bullshit, because that's another thing about the red pill as well. This is turning into a bit of a rant today, but that's another thing about the red pill. Again, I will repeat what I said earlier. Your ancestors survived almost like brutal, harsh conditions, right? What happened to them if they broke their arm? They got a bit of clay and they got a few sticks and tied it together, tied it around their arm and hoped it would heal. That's what happened to you if your arm broke, yeah? No hospitals, no morphine, no nothing. You know, if you got skewered by a fucking woolly mammoth, you know what happened? You died slowly of a gangrenous wound gaping out of your stomach over a 72-hour period. That was what happened to you. Like, our ancestors faced brutal conditions. The guys who came here, who built that, they crossed a fucking ocean on a wooden raft with 15-meter waves for like 7 weeks with basically no navigation, like no actual knowledge that they would ever see land again. Like 60% of them died, yeah? And then they got here and they landed on a beach like full of fucking mosquitoes, and then like these dark eyes looking out the fucking woods at them, you know, dark eyes, dark skin, teeth they probably fucking sharpened, ready to kill them. And then there's like 60 of them left, and then they've got to set about their business. They've got a few shotguns and blunderbusses, a few knives, and they end up doing this, end up colonizing a whole fucking island and a whole continent, yeah? And these red pill faggots are on there just like, oh, women are not very nice anymore. Bruv, fuck you, fuck you. You've really got so little charisma that you can't just start whipping some of these girls into shape. I know some of them are irredeemable, but even hardcore feminists, I've whipped some of those into shape as well. Like, it's nature, bruv, it's nature. Embrace your own nature. Bully them into shape. You're the calm, laughing bully. That's what women respond to. Like, I just don't have that much sympathy. And also, you can also travel to other parts of the world. Most of the world is not like full of feminists, you know? Most women don't think tattoos and abortions are actually the best use of their time in normal countries. So you can travel as well. You can get girls from all these different countries. You go on a 200 quid Ryanair flight, you can go to fucking Kosovo. Find a chick in Kosovo, yeah? Go to Serbia. Yeah, come, if you're in North America, come down here to Dominican, yeah? There are still girls who haven't been infected. You know, most girls in the world haven't. But guess what? You'll go to those places, you'll still be a pussy. And then you'll be even worse because you'll have nowhere to go. So some of these red pill guys, I understand like why the content has become popular, because it's seeing through the feminism and it's seeing through aspects of female nature. Obviously, when women get together, it is a toxic little thing. They all fucking hate each other. We all know that. Guys, like, remember who you are, boys. Remember who you are. Remember what you descended from. And all this complaining, oh my God, please, it has to fucking stop. Has there ever been a time where you have more options? I'm not saying this is the best time. I actually would, if I could, I'd probably go and join the Roman Legion, or I don't know, like the Athenians or something. I actually probably would. I genuinely. Even if it meant certain death within a week, I'd actually probably take that. At this point, yeah, I'll die for Rome. I'm not going to die for Britain, fucking commies in Britain, but something like that, yeah, whatever. But in terms of like the last couple of 100 years, has there been anything better than the modern world right now? Have you ever had more options? Have you ever had more ability to get laid, for fuck's sakes? You know, back in the day, you got laid with like 3 women in your life if you were a player. I think Casanova, the real Casanova, he laid about 120 women or something, which in those days was outrageous. Like, he didn't even have a phone. Yeah, he didn't even have WhatsApp. Yeah, he laid that many women, and he's like the greatest seducer of all time. As I say, the guys who came over here to get to the tropics, you had to get on a fucking boat for 6 weeks and very likely die on the way, just to have an adventure, just to get to use your blunderbuss, and then go and see some tropical poon. Yeah. So, boys, there's never ever been a better time, or not for a long time anyway. Probably not since Permiso. Then you're, there it is. Just break my fucking equipment, lol. There's literally never been a better time to be a guy. So, or not for many, many hundreds of years. I'm trying to think when, maybe Renaissance Italy, maybe. I don't know, maybe being one of the Ottoman soldiers for fighting for Mehmed. Although I don't know, man, I'm not too keen on that regime either. So, as an individual guy, you've got a lot of freedom, make the most of it, yeah? Get yourself outside, go for walks, speak to people, yeah? We don't have a great war, as they say in Fight Club. We don't. Okay, fine, we don't, but we can fight for our souls. And we may not have maps and territories in a new world to conquer, but now we're conquering something else. We're conquering psyche. We're conquering psyche. We are mapping unexplored areas of our own psyche, not through psychedelics and bullshit like that, which is all just escapist nonsense. We're mapping it through going out into the real world, going out doing cold approach, going out traveling to new places, going out learning new stuff and realizing, shit, I've been socially conditioned. I didn't even realize it. Shit, I'm more of a male feminist than I realized. Or maybe I'm more resentful than I realized. Or maybe I'm actually bolder than I realized. We're mapping territory, boys. We're mapping territory, yeah? So don't forget that. Do not forget that. The red pill rage, get over it in a couple of weeks, a month. The whole political rage, yes, I get it. Get over it in a month or two and move on. And look at what there is in life to take on. So yeah, boys, here coming to you. We'll finish the live over next to Christopher Columbus here. I've just not broken my thing. Tribute to the man himself. By the way, colonization was a great thing, by the way. Like objectively, look into it. All the countries that were colonized by Europe developed massively. And in case of this country here, what the Americans did to it afterwards and what they did to themselves was objectively inferior to what the Europeans did, man. Europeans, especially in those days, man, now they've obviously all become pussies, but in those days, they were the real fucking alpha males, man. The Spanish, oh my God. Yeah, those are the real fucking alpha males, not guys driving around in a fucking Bugatti. Yeah. Guys going on a boat with a fucking fighting all these nutters coming out of the jungle. Yeah. To be fair, the local tribes were alpha males as well, man. Those locals were beasts, dude. They were beasts. Just like Clash of the Titans. Fair play, the Europeans won, but the natives were fucking awesome as well. Yeah. These people here recognize that as well. They don't see it in the way that all the woke people see it in Europe. You know, when the Romans colonized England, it was a fucking great thing. Literally, is one of the best things that ever happened to England. Even the Vikings, I would argue, and they wrecked us. I think even they left a positive legacy. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we're the new breed. We're the new breed of bioweapons. We need to have at least 50 children each, boys. We need to overthrow the woke regime. I'm working towards my island. I've got an island off the coast of Panama. Yep. Depending on what size we want, anything between 3 and 10 million quid, we can get it done. Then we found a new civilization. It's going to be a breeding program. You bring the girls in. You have to cold approach them though. And then yeah, we have our cult, our breeding cult. We found a new civilization. 12 of us, the 12 disciples, we each have 12 children. And then our 144 spawn go out into the world, form a new civilization, new brotherhood. They'll each have a tattoo. WB Wing Bro on their arm from being 3 years old. They'll be the Wing Bros, the new generation. That's the bigger picture, boys. That's what we're working towards. So yes, boys, I'm the Wing Bro. This is my cult. But yeah, in terms of the actual stuff that I offer, at the moment, I am a coach, but at the moment, I don't have any coaching offer for you, at least until April time. I'm just too busy at the moment with other things, but I'll continue to make content. I'll continue to make these videos to give you guys motivation. And when things do open up again, you can get in touch. I'm not taking any calls. I would say once you've done about 50 to 100 approaches, that's when you need to take stock. Until you've done that, you just haven't done anything. And that's not being dismissive to guys, but until you've done at least 50, you've not done anything really. So you need to get that done ASAP. Once that's happened, then you start to take stock and go, okay, where am I? And that is when, let's say you've gone out, you've done 50 or 100 approaches, and you're making some progress, but you still feel that things aren't quite there. That's when you look into getting coaching, because there's stuff, for example, the stuff that I can see as a coach that you just won't be able to see. You just won't be able to see. And this is actually why even me at this stage, for example, in the summer, like I met up with two of the best guys in the world, Balthus and Ephraim. And both of those guys are freaks, dude, in this. They're complete freaks. As am I, to be honest with you. And we're trading notes, looking at each other going, oh yeah, Wing Bro actually, he's got some interesting stuff he does. When the set looks like it's not going anywhere, he can actually turn it right round and he takes it to a close. And then I look at those guys and go, fucking hell, Ephraim, I thought I did volume. Jesus Christ. It's like the Energizer bunny. And then Balthus, world famous eye contact. So we work together, we bounce off each other, but we're all observant. Yeah. And yeah, in this, we weren't even coaching each other, we were just watching each other's style, right? But that's at a very advanced level. We've already had coaching ourselves. And so even at our level, you can still make improvements for sure. And even me, like for example, if I go into approaches and I don't do things correctly, guess what happens? Often, usually the approach ain't gonna go anywhere. If I don't approach in the correct way, it won't go anywhere. I'm not special because I'm coaching this. Yeah. The difference is, I actually know what, if I do make mistakes, I know what I've done wrong immediately. And if I get a 7, usually if you get like 6 out of the 10 things correct, you'll close. And if you get 10 out of 10, it'll be like, it might even be a little bit too good, to be honest. But if you're a beginner or you've only done your 50 or 100 approaches, there's stuff that a coach will clear up in minutes. In an hour, there's stuff, you know, that I can clear up. For example, Ethan, I've told this story many times. Ethan is an autistic guy who came in to work with me, Asperger's syndrome. Guy went in a way that honestly puts most neurotypical guys to shame, man. The aggression this guy had to go in, the determination was fucking magnificent to watch. But I could see, unfortunately, he had an expression of fear on his face when he was in set. And that's something we just cleared up straight away. Because he was forcing himself, do you know what I mean? This shit is hard for guys. He was forcing himself in. New city, he's got me watching him, and I could see, okay, he looks afraid. So let's just work on that facial expression. How on earth could he ever have seen that? He could have done another 500 approaches and he'd never have seen that. Other things as well, sometimes his body language was just way too jerky. So he smoothed that out. People with Asperger's syndrome, they have a very particular vocal style, which is quite monotone. So we also worked on that as well. That one takes a little bit more work, but the other stuff we could smooth out really quickly. Other guys like a guy out in Serbia, I always remember this one. I just seen, I was like, oh wow, I've not seen a guy who was actually too forthright, too bold, to the point the girls were being intimidated by him in his approach. So stuff like that, you don't know what you're doing wrong. You don't know what you're doing wrong. It helps even to get yourself filmed as well. I noticed on some of mine, like, I'm like, yeah, I can tell I'm a bit hyper there. I'm speaking a little bit too fast. Slow it down a little bit, or I didn't quite have enough conviction on that compliment, you know. So this is why I can teach this stuff, because I know what the mistakes are. I make plenty of them myself, but I know what they are and I can self-correct, and that's kind of what gets the results. And yeah, I mean, once you really do know what you're doing, then you can course correct. But that's where the coaching comes in. So I'll be opening up again. Well, I'll be opening calls in probably March, April, with a view to summer immersions. So if you are interested in getting coached and you just want to solve this problem, and you hear my Rain Man-like detailed breakdowns of a daytime cold approach, nighttime approach, and you just resonate with me as a person, which I think is also very important. Like, if you just think I'm a guy you don't like, and I'm not a person to work with, if you listen to my lives and say, actually, this guy resonates with me, that is for a reason, okay? That's why, you know, the algorithm finds you. It means we've got a psychographic, a natural psychographic compatibility. And so that's what you also need as well in a coach, is someone you actually look at and go, yeah, I kind of get this guy. I get this guy. So yeah, if you're looking for assistance, summer 2026, I'll most likely be going to Belgrade for the summer. I'm not 100% yet, but I think I would like to go back to Europe for the summer. I feel like it's nice to go back to my home continent as well. I love the tropics, but I think I'll probably be back in Belgrade in the summer. So we can speak later this year and we can look at maybe getting you in immersion and actually getting this stuff solved permanently. Because it's a permanent fix. Once you've learned it, you just have to then apply it, and that's it. And you also have access to me as well going forward. Which is honestly like, I don't know, it's weird promoting myself, but I'm a ridiculous asset as a wingman. Ridiculous. What I would personally pay to have me as a wingman is fucking insane. I personally would pay, even now, if I found a guy who was as accomplished as a wingman, even now at my level, I'd still be like, dude, come here, wing me for 2 months, yeah, and I'll pay you X amount, just as the asset. So that's kind of part of the service as well. You have long-term wingmanship from me. And then guys, we typically become friends. You know, we just, after I've seen a guy go in and do 60, 80 approaches, it does command respect. It does command respect. And then typically we just become friends going forward. And then we pull contacts, pull resources, pull ideas, pull locations. And then you get the insider track on everywhere. You get the insider track. So like a friend who's just in my mastermind, or actually just a guy who's in my mastermind, he was going back over to Brazil about a week ago. And we just had a few messages like about locations in the city. It's a city that I've lived in for 3 months. And I said, yeah, basically 90% of the locations are not actually that great, but there's this one street which is fucking phenomenal. So he just went and hit that one street for like a couple of days, and he's got great skills. He didn't need to waste his time going all over the city, just focus all of his attention in one place and just bang, 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 bang. And the guy's killing it. He's got laid twice already. And that's due to his own skill. But just the fact you're able to get those insider tips, yeah, as a man of the world, as a man who traveled, I can offer you some insider tips. And then I also have my other connections as well. So, yeah, dude, this is a world, man. Once you get into it, you meet people like, obviously the guys who've got channels, but there's guys who don't have channels that have been to every country under the sun. They know shit inside out. It's fucking crazy. And most guys don't want to take it to that level. You just get a girlfriend or wife and get it sorted, you know. Sort your personal life out and forget about it, essentially. So that service will be opening up again in the summer. And we'll see, we'll have some exciting infields coming through in the summer as well. Look at these people here, look how beautiful these people here are. See them? Elegant, gorgeous girl there. I think that's her boyfriend or husband there. Long ponytail. I used to have hair like that, you know, in the UK, believe it or not. I used to run with a Latino, like, slick back hairstyle. Trust me, that got a lot of abuse. I didn't really care, but I thought it looked cool. Yeah, I should have been born out here, man. Should have been born out here. So, boys, we'll leave things there for today. Done an hour. Hopefully that's been useful, boys. Get yourselves off the internet, get yourself out into the street, get talking to people. There's a lot out there in this world, you know. Don't waste it, and don't listen too much to red pill guys and all this, thinking you've got all these insights. You become fucking based and all this shit. It's a lot of it's bullshit, man. A lot of it's bullshit, you know. Get yourself, do what you can in the world. We know there's some fucked up things, but do what you can. Get yourselves out into the street. Have a fucking fantastic life. Have a fantastic life, boys. So we'll leave things there for today. Joseph Wingbro, I'll catch you next one.